All right, moving on to our third team. Vince, take it over.
Oh, the Tampa Bay Lightnings, who were back-to-back Stanley Cup champions at one point, over the cap $18 million, but still won the cup. So, last year's standings, Tampa Bay 45 wins, 29 losses. Their power play, first in the league, no kidding with the players they had, 28.6% on the power play. That is ridiculous. Who's in and who's out? Who's in? Oh, we spoke about him before. Jake Gensel, Cam Atkinson. Man. Is that Zemgus? Zemgus?
Is that Gergensen?
Gergensons. Ryan McDonough and JJ Moser. Who's out? Man, the Hall of Famer, Steven Stamkos. Anthony Duclair, the journeyman. Tanner Janot, who, well, let's just say not much in the NHL. Young prospect defenseman who's paper mache a bit, Mikhail Sergachev, and Matt Dumba, who just likes to throw the body around. So
I don't know if Sergachev is a prospect anymore.
Yeah,
he's been in the league year in, year out playing top.
He's maybe a loose leaf paper, but not a
loose leaf paper, but he's not a prospect.
How many games has he played?
He's played top pairing every year.
We're going to check this out after, okay?
Oh my God.
Tell me, Junior, how many games has he played, Sergachev?
I'm on it. Just give me a few seconds. Yeah, caught me off guard there.
Just type his name in the search bar.
I got him. He's not on Tampa anymore. I can't check.
Okay, so he played 79, 78.
Just look at the total.
475 games.
Okay, it's 275 more than the 200 mark.
Jesus Christ.
That's like 3 seasons.
All right, so
But it does feel like he's still new in the league because Hedman took so much of that.
Tier 1, 91 points, 91 plus points in projections. It's because Nick owns him in the league, no?
No.
91
22
plus
points every 22 minutes of ice time per game.
I don't think we have to spend much time on these two players, but we'll start. Kucherov, do you guys see any decline in this player, or do we just see him in tier 1?
No, definitely tier 1. Can he hit 144 again? I'm not sure, but 120 is very fair to project for Kucherov.
I have him at 125 this year.
Mama.
Yep.
Mama.
Yep.
Shooting percentage stays fair. Shots on goal last year, crazy, 306. Has never hit over 300 shots on goal. Obviously, not always healthy, but no, look, we say it all the time.
Most minutes he's ever played, by the way.
Yeah.
As time on ice. 2140. The most he ever did before that was the year before that at 20.08.
I'm curious to see what he does with, I mean, they lost Stamkos, but they gained the Gensel, so that's a bit more speed. I'm curious to see how that works if he did 144.
Well, listen, I'm not going to spend time on Kucherov. He's above and over everyone.
He's top 5 in every
Top 5
league.
in points, yeah, for sure.
So his line mate interests me more. Braden Point. Last year, I think he hit 90 points. Can he make that push to 91 and plus for next year or this year? Nick.
I was waiting to see who you wanted to speak. Look, he's done 90 last year. He did 95 the year before that. I think he continues. And I don't see why not. He played the most time on ice that he ever did. 20 minutes of ice time for him. Yes, he loses Stamkos, but he gains Gensel. I just don't see this player necessarily losing too much points here. I think he's still in that 90 range.
Back-to-back seasons with over 20% in the shooting percentage.
Yeah.
That's wild. That is wild. 32 power play points this last season, 30 the year before. I don't see any of that changing. As long as he stays healthy, he should be a 90-plus point player.
A third-round pick, by the way.
Because why?
79th overall.
Why did he drop?
5'10".
They're not all like him. They're not all like him, but I'm just saying. Sometimes,
There's like 300 5'10s every year in the draft. But he came out of the pile. He was a needle in a haystack.
But more and more you see them drafted a little higher these days.
I actually remember that draft because I really wanted Montreal to draft Point. and we had the opportunity to do so, and I think we took.
Don't even say it.
I don't even want to say it.
Yeah, don't even say
we're
it.
better off not saying it.
Yeah.
No, that's two players very easy to talk about. Not much else to say. They're elite at what they do, and they're gonna stay elite.
The next player who's always been touted to be said that he only puts up the points he did because he played with the one and only great Sidney Crosby. Jake Gensel, can he adapt to the point Kucherov play system to make it into tier 2, which is between 80 and 90 points? Junior.
I think so. I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd say yes. You're going to like a potent offense. He was doing all that on a terrible power play. He's going on one of the best power plays in the league on top of that. Definitely a 30 goal scorer. I see him being a point per game player easily and should hit 90 points. He should even hit 90 points on this team. Again, health is a bit of an issue. 67 games played last year. I mind you, 78, 76 the year before. Not too shabby. But look, if he stays healthy, he's getting really close to 90 points this year. I really believe that. And especially with the power play, 22 power play points, that could go up to 30.
So on pace, I see him hitting 90 points again on pace. I don't know. I can't predict whether he's going to stay healthy or not. But between Pittsburgh and Carolina, he can consistently put up the points. And he wasn't never reliant or dependent on Crosby, because even when he wasn't playing on Crosby's lines, he was still driving play on his own line. He went into a different situation in Carolina, and all of a sudden he's still producing in Carolina. So he kind of seems to be a play driver on his own right. And I'm predicting 35 goals this year, and I'm predicting close to that 90 points.
Yeah, in the final quarter of last year with Carolina, he had 25 points in 17 games.
A brand new team that he's never played on before, and all of a sudden he's putting up points like that. Like you can't take anything away from Gensel on his own.
Okay, tier 3, the ageless wonder, Victor Hedman, 33 years old,
Number one defenseman.
Dun, dun, dun. 33 years old, Victor Hedman. Last year, 75 points. Is this repeatable, Nick?
Absolutely. I think Hedman is a beast.
Wow.
I think he is the type of player that, regardless of his age, which is he's gonna his 34 age season in the league this year, he doesn't seem to be slowing down. He played 24, almost 25 minutes last year, and he put up his best point pace in a few years. So 80-point pace last year. Injuries played a role at some point, and we thought Sergachev was going to take over that number one spot, but Hedman kind of beat him down with a stick.
Literally, almost.
He literally took back that power play one spot. And I think this is a big reason why they were comfortable in getting rid of Sergachev, because Hedman is so freaking good, even at his age. 6'7", this guy's a monster, but it's so rare to have a player at this size producing like this. It's insane. And that's why I think he's a unicorn. He's a number one defenseman by far.
Junior.
Yeah, he's probably the staple of what you want a number one defenseman to be in an ideal world. A point per game is rough for me. We have him 70 to 79. I like that better. In a perfect situation, he should see a little bit less ice time, gradually lowering that a little bit as he gets older. It surprised me a little bit because Sergachev could have alleviated, but in a cap world, decisions like that have to be made, and it's hard to move on from Hedman. It's a little easier to move on from Sergachev, right? But I like what they did. They brought in McDonough, who's a good vet who could alleviate a little bit, and JJ Moser is nothing to sneeze at. We'll talk to him about later. But yeah, Hedman, 79 points is almost a guarantee if he stays healthy. Very safe shot percentage, averages over 2 shots on goal a game.
Nobody on that team could play power play one instead of him.
Guys, he's been a negative player twice in his career. with all the ice time he gets, that's very impressive.
Yeah,
And it was in the first 3 years of his career.
I think that McDonough trade back to Tampa is just to alleviate some of those minutes from Hedman because of his age. But I wouldn't think he would be over 70, but he hasn't proven that he's slowing down. So why would you go against the odds? So listen, number one defenseman, he's the quarterback of that power play. He drives that power play. Why that power play was number one was because he was back there. So
Last year, we
Part
probably
of it,
said
I
he
mean-
started his demise, right? His decline because he had 50, he paced for 53 points. And now he comes back with 80 points.
yeah, of course.
So now he has like 80 points
And-
plus in 2 of his last 3 seasons.
But you have to remember the year before that, they went to 2 long Stanley Cup runs. So it's like it catches up to you once in a while.
Yeah.
The other player we have in that tier 3, who I feel is an interesting player, 26 years old, Brandon Hagel, 75 points last year. If I'm not mistaken, he was traded on air last year at the Partial Breakaway podcast.
Nick and I
So,
pulled the trigger on the deal
Nick, you acquired him, didn't you?
and then traded.
I
So-
traded him away this offseason.
Okay. So, can he repeat that point streak? Can he stay in that tier between?
So he just hit his prime. He's 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is telling us that he should be able to repeat. He had his lowest shooting percentage in the last 3 years. He had it this year that just passed. And he still put up 26 goals, 49 assists, 75 points in 82 games. This player is very, very good. And he is the perfect player for you to buy low on. I think I sold him because of cap restraints and not because I actually wanted to get rid of him.
You want to go over that trade? You got
I
Patrick Kane?
no, I got Dursey in a second
Oh.
for Hagel, which I might have to drop Dursey because I can't afford him anymore. Anyways, the fact of the matter is, though, is he played 19 minutes of ice time last year. He hasn't been in the league that long, even though he's 26 years old. This is going to be his fifth season in the league. So I feel like he is the fifth player on that 5-man power play. And because he's the fifth player on that power play, his point could continue.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the power play. He only saw 25% of the power play and hit 75 points. Can you imagine if he had more time on the power play? He'd be a point per game player. That's wild. Brandon Hagel. That's crazy. But look, he keeps doing it.
Well, he played very well in Chicago, too.
Yeah.
He was showing in Chicago that he was starting to break out before Tampa Bay picked him up.
And he had 75 points in 82 games last year, and the year before 64 and 81. So he's even like getting better and better as he's entering his prime. Over 2 shots a game, his shooting percentage is pretty fair. Whether at like on career average of 15, it's very fair. And on a team like Tampa, where they'll set up the play for you to have a great scoring chance, a great high scoring, high danger scoring chance. All he's got to do is put the puck in the net, and he's doing a great job at it. So, to me, I think we have him placed fairly here at tier 3, 70 to 79. I think he could keep going.
Tier 4, 60 to 69. We do not have any players placed. Would you guys have placed anybody on that tier?
So one thing about this team is, and we'll see it next team as well, is they're very top heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So Point, Gensel, Kucherov, of course, Hagel, and then there's really no one that could put up crazy points. But you have people that could put up some secondary scoring and people that could play very well defensively. That includes Anthony Cirelli. It includes Nick Paul. It includes Connor Sheary, right? Like
They signed Cam Atkinson.
Yeah. Do you see Cam Atkinson hitting 60 points?
Yeah, on a team like Tampa, who knows? I like Cirelli.
Mm-hmm.
I like Cirelli to take another step in his development. I don't think he'll ever be a 70 maybe point player, or maybe he'll get close. But I'd like to see him flirt with 60 this year. If he can get close to 60, and then next year obviously would be a step further in the 60s. But I'm curious to see how his development plays out. But they rely on him for a lot, right? two-way center.
Well, and you were saying Cam Atkinson, he's been a paper, like loose leaf paper, right?
Yeah.
Recently, the guy is, I don't think he's ever played an 82 game schedule. Once. He played 82 games, once 81, once 80, but that's over like a 10-year career. So even more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12-year career. It's only 3 times he's played 80 games or more.
Yeah, but he plays 79, 78. It's his age is catching up to him, obviously.
He's he's going to be entering his 36-year season.
Exactly. So, but I agree with you. I think Antti Sorelli, I think he can flirt with the 60 points this year if everything goes well. For the power play, for the defenseman,
I just don't see it.
He's
He's never hit 50 even. Or he hit once a point pace of 50. I just can't see 60 being possible.
No, I want to see him get close. I don't think he'll be, but I think in his prime he could be in his 60s.
Well, he's 27.
He's 27.
This
He's
is
already
his
in his
prime.
prime.
Man, things go fast, eh?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So this is his prime. If he's gonna,
This
hit
is the
close-
year he needs to take
Yeah,
that
of
leap.
course. Power play defenseman. I mean, there's no questions here. You know, Hedman's the number 1 defenseman there.
Yeah, we already spoke
this,
about that.
This is a team that plays their first unit for 1 minute and 45 seconds, if not 2 minutes. So, I mean, their second power play defenseman, we have Radish here, who could be there, who played a bit. JJ Moser played a bit with the formerly
Coyotes.
known Arizona Coyotes. He played a bit of power play there. So, but I don't see them getting much power play time. So, I mean, unless you guys have something else, this team.
I'm curious to see how they deploy Moser, actually, but I don't think he'll be fantasy relevant.
No, I don't think either of these guys will be fantasy relevant. The only thing that really interested me about Radish is the fact that he was like under $1 million last year. But yeah, that's about it.
I think the next thing is where I think Tampa Bay might be better than last year, and it's in their goalie tandems, just because Andre Vasilevsky is coming in as a healthy body from the start. So Andre Vasilevsky last year save percentage .900, goes against 2.90, goals scored against expectations.
Goals saved. He doesn't score goals, but he saves
saved.
goals.
Oh, goals saved against
Above expected.
Woo. 5-on-5, he was 62nd. Jonas Johansson. I think he started the year off a bit on fire, and everybody started picking him up on the waiver wire, and then realized.
No, someone will pick him up.
Well, I had Vasilevsky,
Yeah, I know.
and I needed whoever's playing Tampa games.
So save percentage .890, goes against 3.37. GSAE 5-on-5, 55th. I mean, do you guys foresee Vasilevsky not playing 60 games or more this year? Or do you foresee Tampa Bay trying to get a better backup for him? Nick, you have Vasilevsky, or you had traded him. Still have him in one league.
Still have him.
Okay.
Can't keep track, too many leagues.
Way too many. I'm in 9 leagues. 9.
Don't forget the partial breakaway one after.
10 leagues. Anyways, so Vasilevsky, like you said, had no offseason. He was recovering from surgery.
Back injury.
Back injury. He came in cold, and it took him a long time to start producing good games. And his goal save above expected really showed that he was not doing very well. The team is so good around him that he still had decent save percentage and decent goals against average. But we're talking about a player who's, if you look at the micro stats, he just tanked last year. So I'm expecting a big bounce back year for him this year. And he's one of the few people that used to be tier 1 every single year. Tier 1 goalie, number 1 goalie you grab off the board every single year. Now I think that's turned into more of a Shesterkin type player. But we'll see Vasilevsky bounce back this year in a big, big way.
You'll notice he could be a league winner in redraft leagues because he's going to go a lot later than people expect. Not people expect. Like, people are putting him down because of his off year. But definitely a bounce back season. Look, coming off an injury, not a full off season. That for a player, let alone a goalie, it's important, right? So, like Vince said, I think he hits the 60 games again. He's going to get his wins. His save percentage is going to be much better. His goals against average is going to be much better. Vasilevsky is Vasilevsky. He should still be in the tier 1 of goalies for sure.
Vesna, conversation for Vasilevsky this year, or
If they're serious contenders for the Stanley Cup, he needs to be, because I think they're lacking a bit in the back end there. But I think he could be in contention.
I really don't agree with you. I think they have a very good backhand. I think Chernak is an amazing defensive defenseman. I think McDonough is an amazing defensive defenseman, even though he's a little bit older now,
McDonough's
right?
like 37 years old.
Okay, but he still produces.
So-
He's still defensively.
Yes, I'm just saying
Like,
they could
there.
use like a bit more offense from the back end. Look, if Hedman goes down, not a lot of depth there.
Like offensively,
but
they have the
that's-
number 1 power play
yeah,
in the league.
exactly.
It's hard to ask for more offense from their
and
D.
they have two players that were aiming to hit over 91 points. I mean, it's if they only get one guy back there that gets 70
I'm talking
points.
cup contention. Cup contention.
It all depends on Vasilevsky.
No,
But that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It all depends because there's other teams that have firepower as well, which we're going to talk about after.
Yeah.
Our last team of this entire thing.
So let's just go through the prospects of Tampa. Like we said, they've been competing for so
They have
long.
prospects.
Yeah, they don't have many. I mean, they have Connor Geeky, who's a
Who
highly
they traded
touted.
for.
Yeah.
Who they traded for? So he's a
Sergachev.
highly touted prospect. Isaac Howard, Ethan Gauthier. I mean, the only interesting one is here is Connor Geeky. Is he gonna get his does he have a chance to get a cup of tea?
You think that's the only interesting one here?
You tell me, Nick.
No, Connor Geeky, I think, is gonna fight for a spot out of camp. I don't see him necessarily as a highly producing center, but because he is a center, but he could possibly
On the wing?
take that number 2 center spot eventually from Sorelli. He may be good enough for that, at least. If everything hits, everything has to hit for that. I kind of see I don't know if it's going to be this year. I think this year he'll have a cup of coffee. Maybe if he makes it out of camp, he'll be their 3rd line center for this year. But Nick Paul is there too, so maybe it's hard to really say. Maybe he's going to be a winger to start off the career. And they're lacking. I think their bottom 6 is not as good as it used to be. So maybe Connor Geeky is going to play left wing, right wing on that 3rd line
Just
to give them a little bit of energy, a little
Maybe
bit
with Isaac Howard.
of youth. Isaac Howard, I think, is still a couple of years away. I like the kid though, and he's a goal scorer.
I thought for sure he had played a couple of games last year. I thought for sure he played a couple of games, but he didn't.
He did not. No, he didn't.
I like Connor Geeky. I think, especially on a team like this, he can be like a power play specialist. A lot of points on the power play because he has that gritty front net presence. But
Ethan Gauthier could turn into a middle 6 guy.
sorry, not Gauthier. Did I say Gauthier or
No, you
Geeky?
didn't. You said Geeky.
Okay, I said Geeky.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about Ethan Gauthier?
I was just gonna say, I think he could
Bottom
eventually
6.
turn into a middle 6 guy.
Yeah.
But he's still a few years away. I don't want to say that you're gonna see him this year.
The most relevant ones are Howard and Geeky.
Final thoughts on Tampa Bay. Anything you guys want to add before I give you Dom's predictions?
I love the Gensel fit. I think that they bought themselves more years, a younger player than Stamkos, who could create on his own and still put up great points. Maybe not 40 goals, 40 assists like Stamkos used to, but still high up there in points and for many more years to come.
I think we're going to see a bit of a resurgence, if that's even possible, from the Tampa Bay Lightning this year.
I'm sad they didn't sign Stamkos, but I think more GMs should take
Their approach.
the approach that Breeze
Business
took.
approach.
Yeah, the business approach that they took instead of the emotional approach that most GMs like to take, including our Manchester.
And it actually
Nobody could get
it kind of
No,
happened where it was nice
Gallagher 6.25, 6.5.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah,
It-
Bergevin was.
It just
very
happened that
emotional.
like Stamkos went to a cup contending team and Tampa's still staying
Yeah,
relevant and
exactly.
young and bought years, like you said. So like I think it works out for everybody.
So the final thoughts on Dom's predictions. Stamkos and Sergachev out with Gensel and McDonough in. It saves about $1 million for the Tampa Bay Lightnings. They got slightly better according to the model. Gensel is younger and Sergachev was someone they could afford to lose. So basically, I mean, I don't see that Tampa Bay drops out of this playoff race. I think they actually go up there and try and fight for the first spot in this division. So that's the Tampa Bay Lightnings.